Good morning.
How are you?
Great news.
I'm good. I feel the jingle spirit in me again. I need to do some more. I think I need to do some more jingles. Okay, me and this focus is about to fight. I don't know why it keeps going to a personal focus. I don't have a personal focus. I have do not disturb. That means don't bother me while I'm on. All right. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Me and these smart devices here.
Exactly.
Who's gonna win, them or me? How's it going? How was your week?
This was the fastest week of the year because I was off.
Sir, you sir.
Mhm.
Oh, we didn't schedule the time. We didn't. Are you off next week too, or it was
No,
just
no,
this week?
no. I
Oh,
have some more days coming up, though. I have a lot to use.
okay,
So
okay, all right. Were you productive in the fastest week ever?
I was trying.
I know. Don't you hate that? Like you'd be like, my intentions are there. I'm trying to do what I need to do, but it's always something.
I mean, I was knee deep in digital marketing and subdomains. So
Sir.
we have a lot to talk about after the meeting.
Wait a minute. Wait, let me, as you mentioned it in the meeting after the meeting, look at me. See, I was a little productive this week.
Okay.
I was a little productive this week. So the meeting after the meeting. If you want more details, check out the video link or check out for our Patreon. All right. See, look at that little quick plug. Oh, let me say Happy Veterans Day to all who have served.
Absolutely.
Everybody was off yesterday, wandering around, wondering why. I'm like, really? It's Veterans Day, but the actual day is today. Um, and I think, see, I'm about to mess this up. I'll check later and verify. I think we got Compliance Week coming up. I don't know if I missed it. Something about Compliance Week is coming, or maybe we're on the tail end of, but I'll give you the actual dates in a minute. What else is going on out here in these streets? I think that's it. So, okay, let's get started. Well, welcome everyone to our Saturday morning tea where we discuss health information, news, education, certification tips. We on this entrepreneurship um, climb, the revenue cycle at large, all of the things. If you have a question about it or want to know something about it, I'm sure between all of us, you included, we will get to the bottom of it. As you come in, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, the founder and senior education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, where coding education is key. And PRN is a healthcare compliance consultancy located in beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio, the heart of it all, that specializes in revenue cycle and regulatory compliance in education. Now, let me ask you, and I think it was Vicky who put in one of the comments on one of the videos. No, I don't know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder. That's why I listen to you. I was cracking up. I thought it was so cute. But let me ask you, do you know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder? Well, if you don't, before I introduce my co-host, let me share with you information on a free, yes, free 99 email course on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start and scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder. All right. Oh, see. I feel like I need to be on my jingle. I need to go out there and find me some music and get it in. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do that because I think we're gonna incorporate a whole, instead of me pushing all these buttons for our church announcements, I think I'm just gonna put together a whole little jingle right there. Yeah, see? Think, girl, think. If you are interested in getting more information about the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder email course, then check out the link in the description below. I promise you it's there. Joining me today, and I think every Saturday but 2, is my co-host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. Put some respect on his name, the coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I've been a nurse for 30 years. In 2014, I switched over, transitioned into HIM. And during the pandemic in 2020, I created a company called the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other healthcare professionals with clinical backgrounds transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
And how's that transition going?
It's coming along.
All right. Well, I'll wait till we get to the church. Now, I was about to say, do you have an announcement? But I'll wait.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Didn't you post something? Yes, you do.
Oh.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. Didn't you say you was knee deep in digital marketing, sir?
I sure was. All right, so I have announced my start date for my first ICD-10 CM course of 2024. And it's going to be Monday, January 6th, 6 p.m.
And where can they find information about that course?
thecodingnurse.com.
All righty. See, it's like pulling teeth over here, y'all. I promise you. I try. All right. So before we get into it today, let me remind you that this is family and it's a conversation, and we're here to discuss topics, but we want to get your information, your feedback, your opinion, and your opinion matters here, and it's always welcome here. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever, it's always welcome here. For our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn friends, please use the chat. You guys know what to do. You've been doing it for a while now. We're on episode 93, so everybody know what to do. But if you're new, you can use the chat feature. If you have a question, please type Q first so that we know it is a question and we don't miss it. So, for those, I just did something totally off the chain and don't know what I did. Oh, I know what I did. See, you get these little hotkeys. Let me just explain some behind the scenes. See, I need a whole other camera back here behind the scenes so y'all can see the foolishness that I'll be going through for real every week. But so these hotkeys, they don't work for every program. They only work for one program, and you got to have your window open in that program in order for the key to work. How about that? And since I had another whole other program running, it didn't work. Okay. Now we're good. All right. So for those who are joining us or watching the replay, today we are talking about the executive order that came down regarding AI. The government is involved. The government is doing their thing. We're also talking about the compliance guidance that just came out as well. So the OIG is tightening up those reins, and dropped just the other day a whole compliance I think it's 76 pages of compliance guidance. Now we're not going to go through all 76 pages, but we are going to hit some of the highlights and some of the things that we've already talked about. They have kind of reinforced. So we're going to take a look at that as well. But before we get into that, I think I said that like 3 times already. Let's get into our church announcements, shall we? Oh, and good morning, Vicky. Good morning, Crafty Coder. Good morning. Welcome everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna do that because that'll make this part of the show a little easier. And the reason why I don't have the gloves yet is because I can't find those. And I'm gonna keep looking. We can still put our fingers up. Yes. You need to be excused. Put your fingers up. I get caught up. We've been playing this whole song. Okay, so first church announcement came to me this morning. I said, well, look at God. Look at God. So let me show you this. This is, if you've been with us for the past several episodes, we've always had like a little, I need to call it the AMA corner for real, because we always have something. We always have something related to the AMA to talk about. But this came to me this morning, and I thought it was so good. I thought it was so good. Hopefully it'll come back. Wait a minute, let me see. Oh, come on. See? Why don't want to play for me? Play for me. Wait, let me put it back in there. Hold on. It was so good. It was so good. It was perfect. Wait a minute. Let's do this. Not the picnic. No,
3.
No. Okay, wait a minute. Let me find her again. It was perfect. It was perfect. It's a little YouTube short here.
This is a very interesting debate, and I think it's one to be had. In the UK, we call a doctor, like a medical doctor, a doctor. In the US, they call them a physician. In somewhere like Germany, for a doctor to be awarded a doctor title, they have to go and do a PhD. So the original doctor, in terms of the actual title, is not someone who has a medical degree, but rather someone who has a doctorate, which is a PhD. Now, that's not to say that if someone said to me on a plane, or if someone needed medical assistance, I would say I'm a doctor. I don't say I'm a doctor when someone asks me, what do you do? I don't say I'm a doctor. But the title doctor is reserved for those with a doctorate internationally, and that is someone with a PhD. This is a very interesting debate, and I think it's one to be had. In the UK, we
mention that because we've had that debate.
A doctor.
Okay, I can't get her off now. Okay, we've had that debate rolling from the AMA. They don't want folks to be called doctor but them. So I thought this was an interesting perspective from globally, a global perspective of what's happening regarding the title doctor. So that was one church announcement. She put her
That is interesting.
It is, ain't it? It is. And she made it clear, physician, like physician, not necessarily doctor. So yeah. But anyway, I'm not gonna beat up on the physicians today. Even with their compassionate sacrifice and all. I thought I would get you with that.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to talk about, I think last week I told you that the physician fee schedule came out. Well, OPS came out too. The Hospital Outpatient Prospective Payment System and Ambulatory Surgical Center Payment System also dropped as well. And they provided some information on lots of information on they had proposed for an intensive outpatient program. Most of that revolves around kind of if you're outside of like acute services, but not well enough to go home. It's kind of like observation, if you will, for people who need those types of services. And so it's kind of like an in-between outpatient hospital department. So they weighed in on that. They also weighed in on a lot of things happening in the opioid treatment program. They weighed in on partial hospitalization program. They weighed in on, and we talked about this last week as well. They weighed in on using the mental health counselors and marriage and family therapists. They've weighed in on all of that. So if you want more details on that, check out the OPS or outpatient prospective payment system, which also dropped. And I think something else dropped too. But if I remember what it is, it'll be for next week. Lastly, ooh, child, and this will kind of transition us into our first topic around the compliance guidance. But can we just talk a few moments, if we will, about our friends over here at Cigna? Sir, sir, sir. Whew, I think I'm gonna bring this one up. Sir, and sir. And ma'ams. Wait a minute, let's see. So I don't know if you know or not, but Cigna has been out in these streets doing some things, knowingly or unknowingly. But regardless, because of the things that they have been doing or not, they're about to money is about to be spent. So they are going to pay $172 million to resolve False Claims Act allegations. Ooh, child. Yes. You see that number? But the other thing is, the other number, wait a minute, can I get to it?
Yes.
I knew. This is the other number here. This $8,140,000 for Mr. Cutler, who was a whistleblower. Robert A. Cutler, who was a former part owner of a vendor retained by Cigna to conduct home visits. He told. He dropped the dime, and the rest is history. So they are paying this money to resolve allegations that they violated the False Claims Act. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about the False Claims Act and why this number is probably the way it is. It's all in the compliance guidance. But anyway, they submitted and failed to withdraw inaccurate and untruthful diagnosis codes for its Medicare Advantage plan enrollees in order to increase its payments for Medicare. So, you know, we've talked about Medicare Advantage programs, and it's primarily based on beneficiaries who enroll in the program, and they're looking for risk factors to determine how much money they need to spend for each beneficiary based on their conditions, based on their diagnoses. And so they'll pay more money for those who have chronic conditions or have conditions that require more services, and then less for their healthier beneficiaries. And it kind of then balances itself out in the wash. But one of the things that these Medicare Advantage plans require is that you have to do a risk adjustment. And so you have to determine and document these patients. You have to determine and say, well, these patients have this diagnosis. This diagnosis has been assessed by a provider assessed by a provider, and there has to be documentation to support that. So the Department of Justice alleged that Cigna submitted inaccurate and untruthful patient diagnosis data to CMS in order to inflate the payments that it received from CMS. It failed to withdraw the inaccurate and untruthful diagnosis data and repay CMS, and falsely certified in writing to CMS that the data was accurate and truthful. Somebody went 10 toes down. Yeah, they also said that Cigna reported diagnosis codes to CMS that were based solely on forms completed by vendors retained and paid by Cigna to conduct in-home assessment of plan members. In come Mr. Cutler, because he was one of the vendors. Now, so they're having these people come in to these members' homes and do these in-home assessments. Okay. For years, chew on that for a minute. Cigna submitted to the government false and invalid diagnosis information for its Medicare Advantage plan members. The reported diagnosis of serious and complex conditions were based solely on cursory in-home assessments by providers who do not perform necessary diagnostic testing and imaging. Cigna knew that these diagnoses would increase its Medicare Advantage payments by making its plan members appear sicker, said Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. This office is committed to holding insurers accountable if they seek to manipulate the Medicare Advantage program and boost their profits by submitting false information to the government. They also got a CIA. Y'all know these are my friends. Corporate integrity agreements. So they have a 5-year corporate integrity agreement. This requires that Cigna implement numerous accountability and auditing provisions. And on an annual basis, top executives and members of the board of directors must make certifications about Cigna's compliance measures. Cigna must conduct annual risk assessments and other monitoring, and an independent review organization will conduct multifaceted audits focused on risk adjustment data. They about to be all in their business, just in there.
Now, this is what.
Go ahead.
Okay. What I'm trying to understand is, you see, Mr. Cutler, I thought that case was, it says Tennessee. So how did it get to the Southern District of New York Federal Court?
Where is their home office? Is their home office in Tennessee, or was this did this occur at one of their offices that they may have? I see the MD Tennessee right here.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not, because I'm just it was just interesting, because the Southern District of New York, that is a notorious federal court. Like, nobody wants their cases there. Because remember,
we can dig deeper.
President Trump was trying to have his case moved to another district.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. How did it end up there?
I wonder, did they say? We could.
Oh.
So it's a whole bunch of folks involved.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
They were involved.
Because this is in the Middle District of Town. Okay. All right.
They were involved.
All right.
They were involved. Okay, we don't need to go through all that. So yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's what's happening in the world of compliance and Cigna. She said, yes, baby, yes. Good morning, Tasha. Good morning. She said, yes, I'm about to get my CRC and join the government gang because, baby, Medicare Advantage about to need all the help. Exactly.
Crafty coder, you can get your CRC, but they don't want to listen. Because this is what I want to say. Somebody other than Mr. Cutler, a coder, somebody in CDI told them that what they were doing was wrong.
Internally.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. They just didn't do what Mr. Cutler did and blow the whistle.
He ain't feel no allegiance. He was like, I'm on the outside.
Because I told you, like, from now on, I'm blowing the whistle.
I'm about to get a. It's one downstairs.
Because
Blow the whistle. Blow
yeah,
the whistle.
I'm telling you, who amongst us could not use $8.1 million?
Who couldn't?
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's tax-free.
I believe you are absolutely correct.
Jeez.
I believe you are. And probably in one lump sum payment.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to make no monthly payments.
It ain't like lottery. No.
It's better than the lottery. Better. Yeah, I don't, these organizations, y'all.
They don't.
Yeah, you can control your internal people to a point, but you can't control all the people that's operating in this machine. And wrong is wrong, right is right, and wrong is wrong. And unfortunately, what's done in the dark usually comes to the light. She said, I do have the song, but I probably don't have the clean version available. So I will, that's why I sang it. But I think as we're gonna make a song with Blow the Whistle. That'll be another little blurb. See, look at y'all. Y'all think like me. Y'all think like me. I love it. See, the family thinks like me. Every coder should have a whistle in their desk. Can you imagine? Wait, everybody working, all of a sudden you hear whistles just popping off. Oh my God, that would be hilarious. That would be funny. Ooh, okay, I need to take my banner off. We passed church announcement. That would be hilarious. So yes.
I thought that was interesting.
That was very, very interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, that was the end of our church announcement. Mr. Jesse, did you have anything else you want to add on that?
It's just that I just to reiterate, I'm telling you, there was a coder who was saying something and they just didn't proceed and get that money.
Bless them all. Bless them all. All right. So that's going to segue real nice into our first topic. And this is dealing with the compliance guidance that just came out November 6th from the OIG. I see I'm in present mode today. Let me share my screen so y'all can see. Don't, let me show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. How about that? As I used to say to my children all the time. Okay, so here we are here on the OIG's website. Here is the compliance guidance or compliance program guidance. They got a whole web page here. You can download the complete guidance, or you can go to the individual sections that talks about all of the different things related to this document. I think we talked a little bit about, and maybe we'll go into detail on the compliance program adaptations for small and large entities. We'll do that. Also, the compliance program infrastructure, the 7 elements, and we've briefly touched on them. But today, I just want to talk about the healthcare fraud enforcement and other standards, the overview of certain federal law sections. So that's in section 2. So let's jump over here and see what we got. All right. Like I said, this ain't 91 pages. I thought it was 70 something pages. But anyway, it's a whole bunch of pages on this. Now, they are telling you that this guidance does not create any new laws or legal obligation, and the discussions in this guidance are not intended to present detailed or comprehensive summaries or lawful or unlawful activity. They ain't telling on nobody, but they telling. So, it all begins with kind of giving you an overview of the history. They also want to let you know that it does not address state fraud and abuse laws. So you have federal fraud and abuse compliance laws and rules. You also have some state. That's why you have 2 different exclusion things going on, because you can be excluded from the state and not federal, or is it you can be excluded from federal and not state? It's one of the two. I can't remember which way it rolls, but there's the potential for you to not be on one but be on the other. So let's talk a little bit about them. First, we got the federal anti-kickback statute, and this is where it prohibits entities involved in federal healthcare program business from engaging in some practices that are common in other business sectors, such as offering or receiving gifts to reward past or future referrals. As a general matter, the federal anti-kickback statute is an intent-based criminal statute that prohibits remuneration, whether monetary, in kind, or in other forms, in exchange for referrals of healthcare program business. More specifically, under the federal anti-kickback statute, it is a criminal offense to knowingly and willfully offer, pay, solicit, or receive any remuneration to induce or in return for the referral of an individual to a person for the furnishing of or arranging for the furnishing of any item or service reimbursable under a federal health care program. The statute's prohibition also extends to remuneration to induce or in return for the purchasing, leasing, or ordering of, or arranging for or recommending the purchasing, leasing, or ordering of any good, facility, service, or item reimbursable by a federal healthcare program. The statute covers activity occurring directly or indirectly, as well as overtly or covertly in all instances. And then remuneration, which always trips me up, is anything of value, cash, in kind, or in any other form. They give some examples. It may not take the form of cash equivalents, cost sharing, waivers, or subsidies, an opportunity to earn a fee, items, space, equipment, and services, regardless of the amount of remuneration. You can do this for $10 and get all kinds of problems. Violation of the federal anti-kickback statute constitutes a felony punishable by a maximum fine of $100,000, imprisonment up to 10 years, or both. Conviction also will lead to mandatory exclusion from the federal health care programs, including Medicare and Medicaid. Liability under the federal anti-kickback statute is determined separately for each party involved. And in addition, they may be subject to False Claims Act liability and civil monetary penalties. So you see how you add on top of, it's like you build the foundation, you find out something wrong. Well, woo, you done violated this too. So now you're subject to the penalties of those. Oh, wait, you done violated this too. And now you're subject to the penalties of those. So yeah, where you may think one thing, no, it's something else. Now there are some safe harbors and there are some things that under compliance that you can do that offsets. But it states real big, individuals and entities should evaluate their arrangements that implicate the statute and do not fit into a safe harbor by reviewing the totality of the facts and circumstances, including the intent of the parties. They said that this is intent. And then they give you some examples of some problematic arrangements. And then there's a FAQ. So some key questions that you may want to ask when you're putting together or when you're considering arrangements with others. Mr. Jesse, you want to talk about that one?
I briefly mentioned this. Maybe I don't remember which meeting it was, but I mentioned the safe harbor. And I was talking about I worked for a company that received startup money from a former senator, and they also had a contract. They all received money from one of their insurers that they had with whom they had a contract. And I asked if they had a safe harbor agreement, because if you don't have a safe harbor agreement, then that's considered kickback.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they couldn't answer the question, so that meant that no, they didn't have one.
Mm-hmm. Y'all, we gotta do better. Okay. Physician self-referral law. This is also known as the Stark Law, prohibits a physician from making referrals for certain designated health services payable by Medicare to an entity with which the physician or an immediate family member has a financial relationship, unless an exception applies and its requirements are satisfied. Financial relationships include ownership and investment interests, as well as compensation arrangements. For example, if a physician invests in an imaging center to which the physician refers Medicare beneficiaries for designated health services, the PSL requires that the financial relationship satisfied all requirements of an applicable exception. If it does not, the PSL is physician start or self-referral law, prohibits the physician from making a referral for DHS to be furnished by the imaging center, and prohibits the imaging center from billing Medicare or any individual, third-party payer, or other entity for the improperly referred DHS. Some of those services include laboratory services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, outpatient speech language pathology services, radiology, radiation, DME, parental and enteral nutrients, equipment and supplies, prosthetics, orthotics, prosthetic devices, home health services, outpatient prescription drugs, and inpatient and outpatient hospital services. Because CMS's regulation defines certain categories of DHS by CPT and HCPCS codes, CMS publishes an updated list of codes for the relevant DHS annually. Did y'all know that? All right. So here are some things that you need to determine whether certain key elements are present under the PSL. The PSL is implicated only when all 6 of the following elements are present. There's a physician, makes a referral for designated health services payable by Medicare to an entity with which the physician or an immediate family member or the physician organization in whose shoes the physician stands has a financial relationship, which could be a direct or indirect ownership or investment interest in the entity, or a compensation arrangement with the entity. See, this is why healthcare lawyers get paid so much, because they got to do a whole bunch of work around this.
Mhm.
and I had wonderful relationships with legal departments, and it was confusing everybody. And so there's always a lot of work in making sure that these deals are what they say they are, and that they're structured appropriately, making sure that none of these are violated. And so they also give you some examples that are likely to be prohibited. So Dr. X works in a physician practice located in a major city. Dr. X's sister owns a freestanding laboratory located in the same city. Dr. X refers all orders for clinical lab tests on Medicare patients to the sister's freestanding laboratory. That ain't right. What to do if you identify a problem? From a compliance perspective, it is important for entities that furnish DHS to have a method to keep track of and review closely their financial relationships with physicians who refer Medicare patients to them. CMS, which is the government agency charged with interpreting the PSL, has a CMS voluntary self-referral disclosure protocol that enables providers of services and suppliers to self-disclose actual or potential violations of the PSL. Yeah. Before somebody blows the whistle. All right. Ms. Jessie, you want to weigh in on that one?
That's pretty clear.
Okay. The big one, the Cadillac of them all, the False Claims Act. The Civil False Claims Act provides a way for the government to recover money when an individual or entity knowingly submits or causes to be submitted false or fraudulent claims for payment to the government. The False Claims Act, among other things, prohibits knowingly presenting or causing to be presented to the federal government a false or fraudulent claim for payment or approval, knowingly making or using or causing to be made or used a false record or statement to have a false or fraudulent claim paid or approved by the government, and knowingly making or using or causing to be made or used a false record or statement to conceal, avoid, or decrease an obligation to pay or transmit money or property to the government. The False Claims Act defines knowing and knowingly to mean that a person with respect to information has actual knowledge of the information, acts in deliberate ignorance of the truth or falsity of the information, or acts in reckless disregard of the truth or falsity of the information, and no proof of specific intent to defraud is required. In short, the False Claims Act defines knowing and knowingly to include not only actual knowledge, but also instances in which the person acted in deliberate ignorance or reckless disregard of the truth or falsity of the information. This means individuals and entities cannot avoid liability by deliberately ignoring inaccuracies in their claims. Filing false claims may result in liability of up to 3 times the program's loss plus an additional penalty per claim filed. So that's why those numbers usually are inflated, because they don't look at just one claim. They're looking at hundreds of claims. So multiply that by 3 times plus the additional penalty per claim. So that's why you see these huge, large numbers. A claim that is tainted by illegal remuneration under the federal anti-kickback statute or submitted in violation of the PSL is also false or fraudulent, creating liability under the Civil False Claims Act. Further, the False Claims Act contains a whistleblower provision that allows a private individual to file a lawsuit on behalf of the United States, and if appropriate, entitles that whistleblower to a percentage of the recoveries. Anyone with knowledge or potential fraud can be a whistleblower, including current or ex-business partners, hospital or office staff, patients, or competitors. There is also a Criminal False Claims Act, and criminal penalties for submitting false claims include imprisonment and criminal fines. If an entity identifies billing mistakes or other non-compliance with program rules leading to an overpayment, the entity must repay the overpayments to Medicare and Medicaid to avoid false claim liability. Yeah. Anything on that?
Yeah, as we were talking about it, and you read that little excerpt, I thought about our buddy that we just talked about with the $8 million. They settled for 172. So he should be entitled to like 20%.
Did it say how much? Did it say 8%? Did it say how much?
He got 8 million.
Did they say what the percentage was?
Yeah, it's established. It's because I remember in New York, there was a case where they settled for 160 something, and the whistleblower like $8 million.
Did he? So with Cigna, did they settle without? I mean, how? So is it a settlement before being found guilty and then assessed, or is it?
It's a percentage of what the settlement is.
Okay.
So he didn't even get 10%, and I wonder why.
Oh, that
because you negotiated
to see what their thing is.
But it's in the False Claim Act. How much it is like 20%. It's a range that you negotiate with the government
as the whistleblower.
Yes.
Well, maybe he didn't read he didn't read.
He
Maybe he
must
didn't
not
know.
have. I mean, it's still a good amount of
I
money,
mean, it's still good. It's good coins. Good coins.
but 16 would have been better.
Amen. Now I can't. Because I'm scrolling. I can't see comments in there. So I'm trying to see. I can see it on my handy dandy other little iPad over here. But I can't. But we'll come back. We'll come back. Okay. So that's false claims. And somewhere, yeah, because if you can also go out to, and this is just the guidance, but if you go out to the actual False Claims Act that lists all of it, it tells you specifically what those penalties are. I don't think they've said it in here. Because oftentimes they will go back and raise that penalty. So the additional penalty for each claim filed. At one point, I think it's $21,000. I think it's up to $21,000.
Yeah, it went up.
Yeah, because for years it was like 11, and I think it went up to 21,000. So just $21,000 for each claim, plus 3 times the amount of the overage.
Oh, and I just did a search. Key TAM settlements are taxable. Ain't that something? It's considered gross adjustable income.
Oh, dang. Well, give me my stuff in monthly installments so it don't hurt as much. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, all right. But it's more monthly or more coins than you had before you started.
That's true.
All right, civil monetary penalties. The OIG is authorized to pursue monetary penalties and exclusions through a variety of civil authorities, most notably the Civil Monetary Penalties Law, or CMPL. So under CMPL, the OIG can pursue assessments in lieu of damages, CMPs, and exclusion from participation in the federal healthcare program. So with this authority, the OIG can address a wide variety of improper conduct related to federal healthcare programs and other HHS programs. The CMPL principally addresses fraudulent and abusive conduct. In addition to the OIG CMP authorities that closely parallel the False Claims Act, the OIG has additional CMP authorities aimed at certain specific types of conduct unique to HHS and the federal healthcare programs. For example, the patient dumping CMP. While False Claims Act cases are pursued by the DOJ on behalf of HHS in federal court, CMP cases are administrative and pursued by the OIG before an HHS administrative law judge. So you in court on all kinds of stuff if you're doing something that you have no business doing. So by statute, different categories of conduct result in different penalty amounts. For example, false claims result in penalties of up to $20,000 or per item or service. Falsely claimed and improper kickback conduct results in penalties of up to $100,000 per violation. Here's some things that could lead to CMP liability. Presenting a claim that a person knows or should have known is for an item or service that was not provided as claimed or is false or fraudulent. We talked about this recently. Arranging for or contracting by employment or otherwise with an individual or entity that the person knows or should know is excluded from participation in a federal healthcare program for the purpose of providing items and services for which payment may be made by a federal healthcare program. Presenting a claim for a pattern of medical or other items or services that a person knows or should know are not medically necessary. Committing acts described in the federal anti-kickback statute. Failing to report or return a known overpayment. Failing to provide an adequate medical screening examination for patients who present to a hospital emergency department with an emergency medical condition or in labor, that's EMTALA. Making a false record or statement material to a false or fraudulent claim for payment for items and services furnished under a federal health care program. Transfers remuneration to a Medicare or state health care program that the person knows or should have known is likely to influence the beneficiary's selection of a particular provider, practitioner, or supplier for the order or receipt of any item or service for which payment may be made in whole or in part by Medicare or a state health program. But I got all kinds of stuff going on. So yeah.
Oh, and I did find it. It says when a key technician is successful, the whistleblower, also known as the relative, typically receives a portion of the recovery, ranging between 15 and 30%.
Okay. All right. We also have, as a result of the 21st Century Cures Act, information blocking. And so they recently released some information on what happens to an entity who has been engaged in conduct constituting to information blocking. And a health IT developer of certified health IT and health information exchanges and networks commit information blocking when they engage in a practice that is likely to interfere with, prevent, or materially discourage the access, exchange, or use of electronic health information, and they know or should know the practice is likely to interfere with, prevent, or materially discourage the access, exchange, or use of NHI. A healthcare provider commits information blocking when the provider engages in a practice that is likely to interfere with, prevent, or materially discourage the access, exchange, or use of EHI, and the provider knows that the practice is unreasonable and is likely to interfere with, prevent, or materially discourage the access, exchange, or use of the EHI. Okay. Yeah. So they recently, the Office of the National Coordinator of Health Information Technology released some information in there. A health IT developer of certified health IT, health information exchange, or network that engages in information blocking may be subject to CMPs of up to $1 million per violation. This was the final rule that they've issued on this. And do they say the provider? Oh, a healthcare provider may be subject to appropriate disincentives as set forth by HHS in a few. They just recently dropped that. So that's what recently came out, the disincentives. Individuals and entities that meet the definition of healthcare provider under ONC's regulations should be mindful that they may be subject to CMPs if they meet the definition of health IT developer of certified health IT or health information exchanges and networks under the ONC's regulations. Oh, they also have CMP authority related to grants, contracts, and other agreements. We're going to take a look at this a little more closely later on. And we mentioned the exclusion authorities. They decide and determine mandatory exclusions, permissive exclusions, and I thought it was another one. Maybe not. Many providers and their staff employ excluded individuals because they incorrectly believe it is permissible. For example, because an employee obtains a new healthcare license or has received permission from a state agency to practice, has an administrative role, cannot bill separately or cannot separately bill. And that is not true. So, and they recently updated the exclusion list this month. So if you need to go out there and check it for the LEIE monthly, they do it every month. You can check that out. I think criminal healthcare fraud statute, we know what that looks like. HIPAA privacy and security rules, all of the things. Okay, so that's section 2. A lot of information. Questions, concerns? Let me see what's happening over here with the comments. Yes. Deliberate ignorance and or reckless disregard. Yes. You get a false claim accusation. You get a false claim accusation, and you over there too. The word safe harbor give them deer in the headlight vibes. They do. They do. If they even know what kickback was. Yes. Well, reading is fundamental, so folks need to know what is happening and what is going on out here in these government streets. Yes, yes, yes. Can I go back to that? Let's see. No, I'll remove it. All right. So then the last thing I want to talk about real quick is the fact sheet from President Biden, who issued an executive order on safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence. And again, this document is linked in the description of this video, so you can go and take a look at it. So they put together some new standards for AI safety and security. It required that developers of the most powerful AI systems share their safety test results and other critical information with the U.S. government, develop standards, tools, and tests to help ensure that AI systems are safe, secure, and trustworthy, protect against the risk of using AI to engineer dangerous biological materials, protect Americans from AI-enabled fraud and deception by establishing standards and best practices for detecting AI-generated content and authenticating official content, establish an advanced cybersecurity program to develop AI tools to find and fix vulnerability in critical software, order the development of a national security memorandum that directs further actions on AI and security. They also need to better protect Americans' privacy, including the risk posed by AI. The president calls on Congress to pass bipartisan data privacy legislation to protect all Americans, especially kids, and directs the following actions. Protect Americans' privacy by prioritizing federal support for accelerating the development and use of privacy-preserving techniques. Strengthen privacy-preserving research and technology. Evaluate how agencies collect and use commercially available information, and strengthen privacy guidelines for federal agencies. Develop guidelines for federal agencies to evaluate the effectiveness of privacy-preserving techniques. Also, they want to make sure that they are ensuring that AI advances equity and civil rights. The president directs the following additional items: provide clear guidance to landlords, federal benefits programs, and federal contractors to keep AI algorithms from being used to exacerbate discrimination, address algorithmic discrimination, ensure fairness throughout the criminal justice system. Also standing up for consumers and patients and students to protect consumers while ensuring that AI can make Americans better off. The president directs the following actions: advance the responsible use of AI in healthcare and the development of affordable and life-saving drugs, shape AI's potential to transform education by creating resources to support educators deploying AI-enabled educational tools, such as personalized tutoring in schools. Also, to support workers, because AI is changing America's job and workplaces, offering both the promise of improved productivity, but also the dangers of increased workplace surveillance, bias, and job displacement. And so to mitigate these risks, support workers' ability to bargain collectively and invest in workforce training and development that is accessible to all, the president directs that the following actions occur: develop principles and best practices to mitigate the harms and maximize the benefits of AI for workers. Produce a report on AI's potential labor market impacts and study and identify options for strengthening federal support for workers facing labor disruptions. Promoting innovation and competition, catalyze AI research across the United States, promote a fair, open, and competitive AI ecosystem, and use existing authorities to expand the ability of highly skilled immigrants and non-immigrants with expertise in critical areas to study, stay, and work in the United States. The Biden-Harris administration will continue working with other nations to support safe, secure, and trustworthy deployment and use of AI worldwide. And to that end, the president directs the following actions: expand bilateral, multilateral, and multi-stakeholder engagements to collaborate on AI, accelerate development and implementation of vital AI standards, promote the safe, responsible, and rights-affirming development and deployment of AI abroad to solve global challenges. To ensure the responsible government deployment of AI and modernize federal AI infrastructure, the president directs the following actions: issue guidance for agencies' use of AI, help agencies acquire specified AI products and services, and accelerate the rapid hiring of AI professionals. So that is the executive order from President Biden on safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence. Mr. Jesse? And not with you today.
I just don't know how you can want to talk about having a safe, secure use of AI, and you're allowing, because that whole skilled immigrant thing, that's just a joke. Because they're not. And why would you want, and it poses all kind of national security threats. I don't think anybody that's not an American national should be involved in AI.
For America.
For America, yes. Okay. Yes.
Because I'm sure.
I mean, what goes on over there, that's your business. I'm not there.
That's your business. That's your business. Yeah. So interesting on all fronts, and interesting to see what shakes out as a result of this executive order, and interesting to hear these conversations. Interesting. That's all I got. Just don't take away my chat GPT. No, I'm kidding. But just interesting. All right. Well, did I miss anything? Mr. Jesse, do you have anything? We are at the top of the hour.
No.
Provided all the information.
Yes.
News that you need to know regarding the general compliance program guidance and the fact sheet or executive order on AI and making it safe, hopefully, and stuff. Actually, I learned a thing or two myself, so I'm interested to see what other, like I said, what other conversations come out of this information. Like I said, when I see stuff that I pull out, I say, well, wait a minute, this is interesting to me. I think it will probably be interesting to you, and let's have a conversation about it. So, yes. All right. Well, folks, this has been another good session. Thank you all for joining the Saturday morning tea or checking out the replay. Yes. What do you think? Was the tea spilled? Was the tea spilled today? Now, don't all
Did you see
y'all.
what Vicky said?
What she said? I love it. I'm gonna bring a whistle up here. I was just about to say, now don't all y'all run out and start a whistleblower campaign. Just trust and believe. There is a lot that happens behind the scenes. There has to be a lot of validation. There has to be a lot of the government has to accept it. So just because you bring some information, they have to validate and make sure that it's something that is worth. Because there have been cases where people have brought a KETAM case to the government, and they was like, "Nah, we ain't fooling with that." And so again, make sure everything is everything. Make sure it's everything.
And make sure you get 15 to 30%.
Exactly. Know your numbers. Know your worth. Know your worth. Your worth, even in the KETAM, in these KETAM Oh yes, and find the clean version. I do have a clean version. I don't have it readily available here. But yeah. But I'll find something that we can play with. All right. So again, thank you all. If this information was valuable for you, help us share the message with others by sharing this video and subscribing to the channel. We want you to be part of the family. And make sure you hit that bell for notifications when we go live, and you can be part of the broadcast. Be sure to follow us for information on all things health information, compliance, revenue cycle, and medical coding and entrepreneurship. If you stick and stay. Don't forget, as you leave out, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button. Also, check out the Coding Nurse channel on YouTube. We mentioned that in a few short minutes, we'll be joining the meeting after the meeting. For more information on that, feel free to read the description box for our Patreon, and you can get information on how you too can be part of the meeting after the meeting. Mr. Jesse, you have any final closing thoughts?
No, it was another great session.
Cool. All right. Well, this again was a joy and a pleasure for me to serve you today and bring you information that you need to know. Thank you again for joining. And remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.